Hey everyone, welcome to another deep dive. Today we're tackling something many find challenging but also super rewarding, learning English.
And you've come to the right place, because we're using what you sent us to create a roadmap for your language learning journey.
Exactly. No more feeling overwhelmed. We're going to give you the tools and know how to make English click for you.
It's funny, when people think learning a language, they often think about memorizing verbs and grammar rules. But it's so much more than that.
Oh, absolutely. It's like you're not just learning words, you're learning a whole new way to experience the world, right?
Right. I remember this one time I was traveling through Japan. Beautiful country, amazing culture.
I bet.
I was relying on phrase books and gestures, which worked, kinda. But there were definitely moments where not speaking Japanese, it felt like I was missing out on these deeper connections.
I totally get that. I had a similar experience in Italy a while back. I could order food, no problem. Ask for directions. But having a real meaningful conversation, not so much.
And those are the interactions where you truly learn about another culture. The humor, the values, the everyday things you just wouldn't pick up from a textbook.
Exactly. So for everyone listening, imagine yourself actually using English,
Mm.
having deep conversations with people from all over, understanding jokes in another language. These are the things that make language learning so rewarding.
And there's even research showing that it makes you a better communicator overall. Like, it literally changes how your brain works.
Wow, that's incredible. Okay, so we know English is valuable, but where do we even begin?
A great starting point is setting realistic goals for yourself.
Right, because you're not going to be fluent overnight. It's a process.
Exactly. And speaking of process, one of the sources you shared, Pasted Text, really emphasized those small, consistent steps.
Like what, 15 minutes a day is better than cramming for 3 hours once a week?
Precisely. It's all about building a sustainable habit. And you know what else they mentioned that I found really interesting?
What's that?
Keeping a language learning journal.
Oh, yeah. I was curious about that. How does that actually help?
So Pasted Text actually cited a study showing that people who journaled their progress, they felt more motivated and actually improved faster.
Interesting. So it's not just about tracking what you're learning. It's about acknowledging those small wins and staying motivated.
Exactly. And that ties into another important aspect we should talk about, figuring out what type of learner you are.
Yeah, it's like everyone has their own learning superpower, right?
Totally. We've got our visual learners, our auditory learners, and our kinesthetic learners.
Can you break that down for us a bit? Like, what does that actually look like in practice?
Sure. So a visual learner might find flashcards really helpful, or apps that use lots of images. Auditory learners, on the other hand, they might prefer podcasts, music, things like that.
So an app like Memrise, which uses flashcards, that'd be good for a visual learner, and something like the All Ears English podcast mentioned in Pasted Text would be good for auditory learners.
Exactly. And then you've got kinesthetic learners. They learn best through doing, through movement. So writing practice, role playing, even using your hands to make flashcards. Those would be great options.
It's amazing how many resources are out there these days. I mean, we've got apps, online courses, podcasts. It can almost be overwhelming.
You're telling me. That's why Pasted Text suggests starting with resources geared towards beginners. They specifically mention the Duolingo app for structured lessons. And for immersing yourself in real-world English, they highlighted the BBC Learning English website.
Those sound like good places to start. At the end of the day, the best resource is the one you'll actually use and enjoy, right?
100%. Don't force yourself to use something you hate just because it's popular. Find what works for you.
Well said. Well, as we wrap up our deep dive today, remember, this is just the beginning of your English learning journey. It's going to have its ups and downs, but embrace it all.
Celebrate those small victories. Don't be scared to make mistakes, because those are actually how we learn best. It's so true. Now, I've got one final thought for everyone listening. Think about the first conversation you'd love to have in English. Really picture it. Who are you talking to? What are you talking about?
And what skills or vocabulary do you need to make that conversation a reality? That's something to think about as you embark on this journey. We're excited for you.